This is quite possibly one of the most terrifying videos that I have seen on the internet, and it has all to do with immortality, human head transplants. What makes this video so terrifying is that we know that the so-called elite, the powers that be, they do not want to die. They want to escape death. So essentially something like this could create more problems for trafficking all over the world. We already have issues with organ harvesting, and on top of that, there's a theory that people who register themselves to be donors are targeted individuals and somehow always mysteriously pass away in car crashes. But now it is no longer just about the organs, it is about preserving the entire victim's body for the so-called elites. The reason why I keep saying the so-called elites and the wealthy is because this is not meant for everybody. You have to have some sort of status to afford something like this. This is to keep the wealthy immortal. I am going to go ahead and play 2 minutes of this video coming from Brainbridge, and while you might think this is fake, while you might think this is science fiction, I am going to prove that they have been working on something like this for quite some time now.
Introducing Brainbridge, the world's first revolutionary concept for a head transplant machine, which uses state-of-the-art robotics and artificial intelligence to conduct complete head and face transplantation procedures, ensuring smooth outcomes and faster recoveries. Because head transplants require high speed, precision, and efficiency, Brainbridge utilizes advanced high-speed, high-precision robotic systems to speed up the process, eliminate human error, prevent brain cell degradation, and ensure seamless compatibility. The head transplant procedure involves removing a person's entire head containing the brain from their current diseased body and attaching it to the body of a healthy, young, brain-dead donor. Head transplants could provide individuals with severe medical conditions such as terminal cancer, paralysis, spinal cord injuries, or neurodegenerative diseases the opportunity to have a fully functional body while preserving their consciousness, memories, and cognitive abilities. The neurons are the longest-lasting functional cells in the human body. And according to our estimates, the brain is capable of lasting several hundred years, provided that the rest of the body remains young. The Brainbridge concept involves the use of the integrated robotics platform comprised of the 2 autonomous surgical robots, designed to perform simultaneous surgeries on 2 bodies side by side within a single set. The complete robotization of the process allows for the surgery to be performed in an environment with varying temperature and pressure. The procedure begins by preparing the donor and recipient bodies. The donor is a brain-dead patient who has a functional body with vital organs in good condition, while the recipient is the patient whose head will be transplanted onto the new body.
So I'll go ahead and stop the video right there. I'll play the rest of the video at the end of this video because they essentially tell you how something like this is performed. So again, what you're watching looks like it could take place in a horror movie or a sci-fi movie. We always see something like this coming out of Hollywood. And a lot of what's coming out of Hollywood is a lot less fictional than we're led to believe. So you look at something like this and you believe it's futuristic, but it's not. They have been doing this for years now. Matter of fact, they have been doing this since the 1940s, if not before then. We are going to look at a couple of things, but first, let's go ahead and go to the government's National Library of Medicine website, where they have an article titled, "First Human Head Transplantation, Surgically Challenging, Ethically Controversial, and Historically Tempting. An experimental endeavor or a scientific landmark." We have to remember this is coming from the government in 2019, and they can do a lot in 5 years given the advancements of AI. This article states that according to many, head transplantation is considered to be an extraordinary and impossible surgical procedure. However, nowadays, relevant literature and recent advances suggest that the first human head transplantation might be feasible. They go on to say that full spinal cord reconnection was successful in a human model, so human head transplantation is not outside the realm of possibility. This article also eerily states that which obstacles are we facing? Donor body selection. The system for finding the donor body has not been created for such a procedure. However, face transplantations can be performed and donor tissues for such a unique part of the human body can be found. Thus, we believe that this obstacle will be surpassed even for a head transplantation if the scientific community acquires confidence over the feasibility over the procedure. Well, they have been showing us and telling us that AI is 100 times, if not 1,000 times better than anything a human is capable of. And now we have companies like Brainbridge showing us that AI is very capable of performing such a procedure. They are already telling us that face transplants are already possible, and we thought the movie Face Off was just fiction, but here they're telling us they can already do it. You take somebody like Klaus Schwab, who is stepping down from the World Economic Forum, I believe in 2025, because possibly his body is giving out. He does a full head transplant, he gets a new face, he has a new body, and thus Klaus Schwab can continue ruling the World Economic Forum for years, for decades, if not forever. People are cheering that Klaus Schwab is going away. No, he's just getting a new face, a new body, but that brain is still there, and he will still continue to run the World Economic Forum. This website even tells us about the side effects, how the person that's getting this new body will need psychological aid, and it wouldn't shock me one bit if they've done this multiple times. These presidents, these kings, these queens that we believe passed away, no, they're telling us they passed away, and then they're getting these head transplants, these new faces, and they continue to live out their lives under a new persona. So this just adds to the nightmare known as trafficking. You think that the so-called elite, the powers that be, are going to wait for a person, a healthy person, to donate their entire body. There is such a long waiting list just for a human heart and other organs. That's why illegal organ harvesting is such a booming business. So seeing something like this is absolutely terrifying, and this goes back for years, for decades. The first recorded history of head transplantation goes all the way back to 1908, when they were experimenting with dogs, how long they could keep a dog's head alive detached from the body. In 1940s and 1950s Russia, they were actually able to keep a dog's head alive for minutes after detaching it from its body. But in the 1970s, a scientist was actually able to detach a monkey's head, transplant it to another body, and keep the monkey alive for 8 days. The monkey back in the 1970s was actually able to keep its basic sensations, such as smell, taste, hearing, and motor functions. Just think how far we have come in technology since the 1970s. If you were to go back in time and show somebody in the 1970s your cell phone, they would absolutely lose their mind. So then again, you might be saying, well, great, this could help a lot of people, especially people who are suffering from cancers, and somebody who passed away with a normal, healthy body, they could easily just take their body and continue to live. But again, this is not meant for you and I. Reading an article from futurism.com that happened to be talking about this exact same video, at the end of the article they state that, and without getting into the bioethics of such a procedure, even if it were feasible, the operation would enable something approaching immortality, but also necessitate a supply of healthy yet brain-dead young bodies for the benefit of wealthy patients, and we can only imagine where that would lead. Well, we know where that will lead. A certain island owned by a certain Jeffrey is not just a conspiracy theory. This is why they have these quantum computers to pull these different algorithms so AI can be successful in something like this. So whether Brainbridge is being very ambitious or not, this is still very terrifying to see because, again, the so-called elite, the powers that be, do not want to die, and they will find any way to be immortal, even if that means having a constant stream of healthy, young, brain-dead bodies. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, because any engagement does help this channel grow. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do at the end of this video, I am going to go ahead and play the full video coming from Brainbridge, just so you can see how they perform this procedure.
Polyethylene glycol, which is applied locally to the spine at the point of fusion. Once the spinal cord is connected, a specialized implant is placed in the epidural space behind the spine over the point of fusion. This implant promotes the repair of damaged neurons and allows the patient's brain to form neural connections with the new body and ensures that the sensory system is restored. It also functions as a temporary backup control device for the donor body. The next step of the operation is a face and scalp transplant, where all the muscles, soft tissues, and skin are removed from the recipient's face. The donor's face, muscles, and soft tissues are then precisely transplanted in their place. By transplanting younger donor tissues, the procedure reduces the probability of tissue rejection and offers potential for aesthetic enhancement, particularly in cases where the donor is significantly younger than the recipient. It also restores functionality and structural integrity to the recipient's face and rejuvenates its appearance. Brainbridge then carefully sutures the skin to conceal the complex rewiring beneath the surface. The skin is then treated with a special spray that contains growth factors, anti-fibrotics, and antibiotics. This spray promotes faster skin healing, prevents infections, and reduces scarring in the sutured area. Finally, immunosuppressive drugs are administered to prevent the recipient's immune system from rejecting the donor body. After the surgery, the recipient is carefully monitored in an intensive care unit and is kept in a coma for up to 4 weeks to prevent movement or misalignment of the connected body parts. During this time, the head, neck, and spine are firmly stabilized to optimize the fusion of the spinal cord. Life support systems are utilized to regulate breathing and circulation, while nutrition is delivered through a jejunostomy feeding tube. Gradually, the recipient's brain should regain control over the new body. As the recovery process advances and the patient regains mobility, there will be a need for extensive rehabilitation, physical therapy, and psychological support to help the recipient adapt to their new body and regain motor functions. Brainbridge Headband, which is equipped with a brain-computer interface, will allow the patient to communicate their needs during recovery. Thanks to the power of thought, the headband decodes brainwaves and turns them into text or speech. It could allow the patient to control other devices directly from their brain, granting them the autonomy to execute specific tasks independently throughout their recovery journey. Because of the complexity and unexpected challenges of the head transplant procedure, self-learning algorithms allow Brainbridge to avoid errors and adapt surgical plans in real time, depending on the surgery's needs. It can also improve its capabilities over time by learning from previous surgeries. Learning algorithms can recall past procedures and outcomes to continually refine and enhance surgical techniques and post-operative care. While the surgery is being conducted, the Brainbridge algorithm creates a personalized recovery plan, depending on the progress of the procedure and the needs of the patient. To maximize compatibility and ensure seamless integration, we collaborate with the top experts in generative artificial intelligence, brain-to-computer interfaces, and robotics, with multiple successful projects and hundreds of high-profile peer-reviewed research papers. Over the past few years, we developed the end-to-end approach, which accounts for every single detail, including immune compatibility, brain-body connectivity, replacement of the visual and olfactory systems, and post-operative rehabilitation. Brainbridge, breathing life into new bodies, one head at a time.